Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, What Abusers Will Do to Warn You. Yeah, surprising, right? What abusers will do to warn you. What exactly are they warning us of? The demonic has a way of entering into a person who is open to all things ungodly, unethical, immoral, and unrighteous. Of entering into an individual to be abusive, has a way, though, of also bragging about the abuse and, strangely put, warning of what is to come. Yeah, more abuse. And if you're not paying close attention, you'll miss the evidence, the signs. You will be the one that will be blindsided, unfortunately, by the abuser. Abusers will warn about abusers. Abusers will be curious about all sorts of things related to their next victim. And those within the family who may not be abusing you but abusing someone else, they have a way of even warning you about folks who you have connected to, sat down with, date. Yes. So there was a lot of that sort of thing that was going on as I was growing up in my family. Abusers warning of what was to come. More abuse, whether coming from them or coming from someone else. God using an abuser to warn, save some people their lives. The pimp, the player, the hustler, the gambler. Suddenly you want to do the right thing. Suddenly you want to tell somebody of some abuse to come if they continue to date, sleep with, connect to, do business with. Now suddenly you want to be angelic, but okay, I'll listen to you. And God does that because sometimes we don't want to listen to, that legalistic Christian, or we don't want to listen to that person who simply is not a legalistic Christian, but just a believer. Sometimes we don't want to listen to the nice guy, the nice gal. Sometimes we don't want to listen to that strict mother or that strict father or strict grandparent because I just don't like them, or whatever the case may be. So you do, though, for whatever reason, get along well with some of the abusive individuals who, once again, aren't abusive to you, but abusive to other people. And that's still wrong, either way you look at it. And that's why over time you have to disconnect even from that one that makes you laugh, makes you feel good. Yeah, I know he whoops on my aunt every now and again, but no, there's no but about it. I'm sorry, but we can no longer talk to each other because I don't agree with your lifestyle and what you're doing. What are you talking about? I'm not doing anything. Come on now. How many times does she have to show up with raccoon eyes? Okay, and I saw this sort of thing. Raccoon eyes. Abuse. Punched repeatedly in eyes. Okay? People, swollen mouth, punched in the mouth. Okay? So the abuser warns, says, oh, come on now, niece. I don't want you to be going out here messing with these different people, blah, 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 blah. They're nothing but bad news. Okay, well, you're bad news too. Whoa. Don't be disrespectful now. I don't want to have to do something. Yeah, you got a long list of putting your hands on women. Now, but I just don't want you because I don't like the likes of him. Okay, so you don't like the likes of him. Nope, he's bad news. What makes him bad news? Well, let me tell you something. The way he's talking right now, he's nice. But in time, he's going to be a problem. And this sort of thing has taken place where we have had individuals who have done this sort of thing. They have warned. And maybe you didn't like the sound of their voice. That's why I used a southern accent, because sometimes for some people, they don't like to take information from people who they feel is annoying. Okay. Like somebody from New York who talks really fast, and has a little accent. They don't like that sort of thing, So they want to go down a rabbit hole anyway. Okay. You go ahead. You go down the rabbit hole and now somebody's smacking you, kicking you, punching you, spitting on you. And yes, he's guilty. He's doing some bad things too. But why would God, once again, use that person? Because he was trying to get through to you using someone else. Now, some of you are the messenger. And you may have not done these evil, dark, devious things, but the enemy is planning on tempting you to do something. But in the meantime, though, your message to someone is don't do. Sometimes you don't have to use yourself as an example. You're just simply saying don't do. It's not a good idea. I see the future. This person's going to be bad news. They're going to take from you. They're already using your card. They're already, blowing up your cell phone. They're already trying to find out where you are, what you're doing, who you're doing it with. He's controlling, she's controlling, questioning you about, your clothing. Are you really going to wear that? Telling you how to redecorate your house, telling you how you're supposed to spend your money. Just got a long list of what they want from you. This is going to end badly. This is going to end badly. This is going to end badly. Why should I take information from you, you pimp, you player, you hustler, you gambler? Why should I take any information from you, you ignorant, you dumb, you stupid, why should I even listen to you? I mean, you got a long list of messing with this one and messing with that one, and you probably messing with somebody now. I'm just trying to help you out. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Okay? Well, this is why the niece, the nephew, the aunt, the uncle, the son, the daughter, whoever ends up learning the hard way. And let them learn. While you got a tear in your eye, while you're on your knees praying and asking the Lord once again for his saving grace, they're going to have to eventually learn the hard way. Some of you all, come on, I put my hand up. We had to learn the hard way because we didn't like the messenger. I mean, because the messenger, you're supposed to be saintly, aren't you? Aren't you supposed to be like a priest or something? Why are you coming over here telling me something? I mean, you're not like that. I want a priest. I want a saint. I want somebody good to come and tell me something. Well, sometimes that's not how it works. Sometimes it's an African-American woman living in the South with an accent that every now and again shows up in my audios. It's a weird accent that's a combination of Pittsburgh and the South. Yeah. But if that's what it takes for somebody to get out of danger, then that's what it takes. God can use the most interesting people to say the most interesting things, and people will actually listen while others will not. Some folks, you have no problem saying no to your family members about everything that they say coming out of their mouth. But me, a stranger, you'll listen. Me, I was that way as well. I will listen to somebody's audio message all day, every day before I listen to some of my relatives. Right? But then God, he started showing me where certain relatives, you want to listen to them. You really want to listen to them because they got a long life history that can see you through. And so over the years, that's just what I did. And it turned out to be beneficial. But the abuser knows the abuser, and the abuser knows the abuser so well because they're wrestling with similar demons. And that's why they feel equipped to sit down and say, let me tell you something about this person. They're bad news. Some of you all were getting ready to marry somebody, or some of you all had already married and now divorced. And there were people that were around, whether it was even a movie that warned you, or a stranger on the street, or you listened to somebody's sad sob story that warned you that you don't need to be involved with. I'm telling you, it's bad, 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 bad. And some of you all, you went on down that slippery slope, didn't you? Oh, I love this man. I want to have his babies. And then you ended up having some babies, all right. And you ended up also having some headaches, some ulcers, Lord Jesus, some heart attacks, some strokes. Oh, somebody wanted to party like a rock star, and there were consequences. And the abusers around were saying, you don't want to do this, but you did it. Doesn't matter what I've done. That's why I'm warning you, because it's ugly, it's dark, it's evil, it's destructive. Well, why don't you get over your demons? Look, we're not talking about me right now. I'm trying to help you out. Well, I don't need your help. Okay, here we go. Once again, you're going to learn the hard way. I remember one of my sons talked about how the scriptures reference all these times where God allowed things to happen, bad things. He said, how come they just wouldn't listen? That was me too. I was frustrated. There were times where I was talking at the Bible like, come on now, just don't make God mad. Make God mad. Now you're gone. You see? And so Jesus can only be the buffer between God and us, but for so long before God says, you will be eaten up by the destruction. You will be. Okay? This is a harsh truth. The abuser, if the abuser has to come, listen closely. If the abuser has to come and tell you something, or tell your daughter, or tell your son, and you know they are wrong all day, every day, but they got to tell you something right. You in trouble. The day, as I told somebody today, a woman got to come and tell a man how he need to live his life, and he supposedly is head of household. You already in trouble with the Lord. I remember a man one day, he was frustrated because he was like, why are you giving these type of messages? Okay, I asked the Lord for wisdom like Solomon. I asked the Lord for me to just be that ambassador of light, an ambassador of Christ. I asked the Lord many things. I had to go through a lot of fires in order to even have anything to say. My gender should have nothing to do with it. Nothing whatsoever. And so for some of us, we're so caught up on who the messenger is that we lose sight of the truth that's coming out of the messenger's mouth. I want somebody to be free because I know in the spiritual realm that they're being held by their captor, and there is an escape. There's always an escape. You can look for that opportunity when the captor is asleep. You can look for the opportunity as you're knocking down the door, looking for a weakness in that door frame. There is, Lord Jesus. Lord, I wish that I could say this is just an example, but in the spiritual realm, it is not. There's weakness in the windows and in the locks. Lord Jesus, you can feel along the floor and find weakness in a floorboard and going down into a tunnel that leads to somewhere on the other side, Lord Jesus. And the abuser who may be holding the captors might have favor in his or her heart for the victim and shows the victim where the escape is. Come on. You might not like what that person did to you. You might not care for that person. The fact that they did the ugly, but yet you giving me this. Can I trust this person? Come on. You pray, you ask the Lord for his insight. You pray, you ask the Lord for the favor. You pray and ask the Lord in every circumstance, Lord Jesus, whatever it may be, Lord Jesus. Move on that person to give me the truth that I need, to give me the answers to the quiz if I need it. Come on. See, because sometimes there's that quiz that it's not fair in life. Okay. It's not the quiz that is going to, be graded in the same way that all the other quizzes are graded, or the system or the process or the procedure. I'm just throwing out all sorts of examples here. But the abusers who've already abused the system, what have you, and they already know the way out, can be used in order to give you the way out. You thought that the system was fair. They turn around and say, listen, no, the system's rigged. You thought that the workplace, everybody was treated equally. No, it's not. You are given the opportunity to walk out the door. The God himself says it's time for you to walk out the door. Some of us, what did we do? We stayed a little longer, and that's why we're suffering. We stayed a little longer. And when we didn't go during God's timing, it made it more difficult. And then when we finally did leave, then it made it harder for us to be able to do what it was that we needed to do in order to get the income that we needed. That's somebody's truth. Because, hey, if you left before the layoff, you probably would have been better off because the opportunities were there. Now you're sitting up here and you're like, somebody goes, well, what does this all have to do with the abuser? Because the abuser is at your workplace. Because the abuser is at the home front. Because the abuser is out there in the tunnels. Because the abuser is out there in the forest. Because the abuser is driving an automobile recklessly under the influence. Abusers are everywhere. And then the truth shows up, maybe sometimes not in what they tell us, but in their deeds or misdeeds. And this is where we have to go, okay, if God is showing me all of this, it must be for good reason. You know all right that it is. Why, oh Lord, are you giving me this information? That should be somebody's prayer. Because you might be the one that sets the captives free. That's why. Why are you leading me to the abuser who, he may just abuse me. Well, he may just abuse you, but then he may not. He may be used as an angel of light temporarily to get you out of a bind. But you don't know until you test the spirits. You don't know until you get God in on a plan. God says, ask and ye shall receive. People like to always associate that with money. There's more to that. There's so much more to that. Ask God for guidance. Ask God for mercy. Ask God for grace. Ask God to use that abuser to set you free. Ask God to move on that abuser to give you the monies for your pain and suffering as a result of being under that abuser. Some folks know that about themselves. They know they're abusive. They know it. You don't need to tell them 50 times that they're abusive. They know it. They were abusive to the wife, or they were abusive to the husband. They were abusive to the children. They were abusive at the workplace. They were a workplace bully, whether they used silent treatment or they used a whole bunch of verbal insults, assaults. But they know that about themselves. But for some, they have a conscience where I want to do something good today. And then I'll do all my devilish stuff tomorrow. So I'm going to help this young lady out. You see? And some of you all, you got the hookup. You know it. You ain't going to tell nobody that. The abuser said you better not say nothing because they don't need to know about me being nice. I got a tough act that I got to maintain. But here you go. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You see, some of you all, you got hooked up with the abuser's money. He may have been a drug abuser, but you got the hookup. He may have been physically abusive. He may have been like Pharaoh at the workplace, and you spending the money, right? You got a house, you got a car, you got things. And that's why some of you all don't want to know all the details, because you don't want to feel guilty that you received what you received. You see? But it's all right. The Lord, He knows the heart of the abuser. He knows where the money came from. He knows why. For some of you all, you know that the monies that some of these abusers have are saved up for who? What the Bible say? The righteous. You got that right. You got that right. That's why some people, they don't have no type of guilt about receiving some monies in the plate from the drug user or the drug abuser who shows up at the church. You see, when you are ready to get your life right, then you stop doing abusive things. But when you're not ready, you keep on doing abusive things, but that doesn't mean that God isn't going to use you at some point. And so I saw these uncles. In my book, Socially Sweet, Privately Cruel, Abusive Men, I don't name names and things like that. But some of the events, some of the experiences, they were not nice people. And in that book, though, the abuses that they put upon other people, some of you all who read that book, you benefited. You benefited. People who were heartbroken, people who were upset, people who ended up losing babies, people who were raped, people who went through a lot. They couldn't tell their stories. So the abusers, though, they told some of the dirt that they did. They also told how folks got themselves in those positions, not to blame the victim, but things that you can do to prevent yourself from being used and abused. So the abuser comes to the table. Let's pretend like we're all in the room. And the abuser comes to the table, and he's not what you think. He's not wearing horns, and he don't have a tail. And he don't have 6 fingers. But he shows up, and he's at the boardroom, or he's at the Thanksgiving meal, or the Christmas meal, or the New Year's celebration. Or he may be somebody who is dating someone during a family Valentine's Day event or something. Okay? But all these things are happening where people are showing up and the abuser is in the room, and people are breaking bread and they're, drinking and being merry and whatever else. And then the abuser decides to listen to the one true God in that moment and warns us all. Do you want to get hustled? No, I don't want to get hustled. What? Well, I know some things about hustlers. Well, okay, do tell. You wanna get taken for your money? No, I don't want to get taken for my money. Okay, well, I know a few things about some of the gamblers in the room. Oh, gamblers are up in here. I can see them a mile away. Yeah, you want to know something about the player? Yeah, I want to know something about the player. Well, you dating them right now. What? You want to know something about the pimp? Don't tell me there's a pimp here. Yeah, there's a pimp here. That lady that's with him, that's not his woman. She does services for his customers. Her customers. You see? So I was a young person in the room with different people and didn't realize, because like I said, they don't look the part. Whatever Hollywood paints a hustler, a pimp, a player, a gambler to look like, they don't look like it. And so you're in the room, and then somebody decides to do a good deed who's an abuser, and he decides to point out all the abusers in the room who going to abuse you for your money if you're not smart, who's going to abuse you of your time, who's going to abuse your body, who's going to abuse you verbally. And if you're not careful, you're going to be scarred for the rest of your life. You want this information? Absolutely. And so here it comes. You're too trusting. Wait a minute. I thought you was going to give me information, not insult me. Part of it is just what you don't want to hear about yourself. You're too trusting. How you figure I'm too trusting? Because first of all, you work in this room. I saw you. You walking around here. You talking to everybody. You're giving people the benefit of the doubt. You're not guarding your heart. They know you're weak. You come in here, you're decorated all up from head to toe. You looking for a man? Well, not really. But the way you look right now, sure is telling the whole room that you're looking for a man. But I might have a man already. I'm not for sure. It's complicated. You see, giving an example. You coming into the room, and before you even open up your mouth, you're already making eye contact with different people in this room, letting them know that you're interested in them. Well, every narcissist in this room, they want that. They want that attention. And most pimps, players, hustlers, gamblers, what are they? Narcissists. Exactly. So why you feel like you got to give them attention? Your body giving them attention, eye contact. Well, I mean, I got to dress nice. There's a way you can do some things without letting the whole world know what's under the trunk. See, some people don't like this kind of conversation. That's why you keep getting played over and over again. But I had to sit and I listened. There were other things that the abuser talked about, such as there's those in this room that talk too much. I know this one right here got money. And if I want, I'm going to be in that person's pocket before the night is over. I know this one talking about their ride. Matter of fact, even showing it in their phone, which tells me they also got it on their social media. So I'm going to get that social media, see what else they post. Then I'm going to talk to my boys, and then we going, stop by the house. Okay? Now that I'm giving an example because those conversations were whispered and were not directly given, you see. But there were details. The devil's in the detail. There was definitely information that was being passed around. And people gave people head nods. People gave people signals. People were even dressed in certain colors because not only were there the pimps, the players, the hustlers, and gamblers, but there were the fraternal that were in the room as well. And so you're looking at things that are all around you. And the abuser says something like, you see why I got her trained? Now that was real. And it made my stomach sink. Trained like a dog. Wow. But you see, I'm a young kid. Like, not for some of these things, I'm a young kid. So I don't have anything to say other than respect your elders. Okay? I got her trained. You know how you get her trained? Yeah. You don't tolerate no mess. You get the mouthing off. And so you even had same-sex relationships that operated that way. Oh, you wanna run your mouth? I got something for you. I mean, come on. Why you gotta treat me like that? You know, I done went through a lot with these men. Now you want to be that way too. Yeah, because she went through a lot with men too. And she went through a lot with females too. And she's not going to be played by none of them. And so she's handling females and males like her daddy handled her mother. Lord Jesus. I'm coming where some of you all are. The abuser sees nieces getting disrespected over in the corner. Excuse me, my man. What's up? Why you talking like that? You better pipe down. You see this room? Well, man, you know how these women can be. I know that you can get bounced out of here because you see, it's okay for him to abuse somebody else's daughter, sister, niece, but it's not okay for his daughter, his sister, his niece to get disrespected. Hypocrites in the room. Let me tell you something, young blood. If you want to stay safe out in these streets, you don't get involved in these streets. But don't worry about me. That's my whole problem right there. That's why I've been in and out of jail, young blood. So you out here making friends with enemies. No, they ain't no enemies. Bruh, look at how they using you. Using you for your car. Using you for your money. Using you for opportunity. You paying? We playing. That's why they wanted to know where you live. That's why they asked you about your shoes, where you got them, and how much they cost. They building a profile on you, and you so busy running your mouth, telling them every damn thing. Yeah, that's real. And this is why for a lot of young men, they don't open their mouth. They don't say some things because they've been taught, and they've been taught well. If you're going to do dirt, you don't run your mouth. The abuser is there in the room, and God opened up that door, allowed him or her to show up, and you're learning some things. The abuser falsifies documents, tells you the shady things that he or she has done, and then gives you a choice. And some of you all said, nah, I don't want to be going to jail. No, it's not worth it. And you made the right choice. Now, why would God even allow that? Because you say that you're a believer, right? You think you're not going to be tempted? Come on. You running around here wanting to walk a platform like this? Okay. Out there in the real world, being seen among men and women, you're going to be tested even more. Because you want to be seen among men and women. No, I don't. Yes, you do. Because you wouldn't be out there in the open all like that. All the time. So the hustler, the pimp, the player, the abusers in the room, they know who's starving for attention. They know that daddy's not as close to daughter, or mama's not as close to son, because of the things that's coming out of the mouth of that son or daughter in the room with us. We're still in the room. Look at him. Look how he's talking about his mama. You're supposed to respect mom. Now see, if I want to, do some things to mom, I know that son ain't got her back. Because he out here, he letting everybody know about their messed up relationship. You see that one right there, that dad? He don't care about his daughter. Look at him. He's so busy over there talking to all them women. Or he over here minding his business. He don't know what his daughter's over here doing. This one right here, she can be pimped. They probably for a long time ain't got along. Look at this one over here. What's wrong with her? What ain't wrong with her? She falling all over the place. She done drank too much. Now that one, yeah, I'm going to go after that one. Because she the one that's driving that Benz. And my Benz, well, I ain't had a Benz in years. It make me feel good driving that Benz. She alright too. She ain't all that, but she alright. But anyway, you see, that's why I don't want you doing that. You out here in public getting stinking drunk. You see. You see? So I could go on and on with these examples, but some of you all, you know how the game is. And some of you others, you still learning the game. The game is terrible. It's dark. It's disturbing. It's ugly. It's filled with ugly people at times. There's the drugs that's in the room. There's the sexual issues as well as the sexual experiences. There's all things sexual. There's the most foul and disgusting in the room, and the type of fetishes that will make your stomach churn in the room. There is the evil that lurks, that you can feel cold and you don't see it, but it's in the room. There's somebody who they're pregnant and they're looking for just about anybody to help them. And so the hustler, the pimp, the player goes, I could possibly use her too, and use the baby once the baby's born. The most disgusting and disturbing things, and you happen to be in the room because you made the wrong turn. You happen to be in the room because you clicked on this audio message. You're in the room, and the pimp, the player, the hustler, the gambler, the abuser is trying to keep you out the game. Trying to keep your children out the game. It's time to talk to your child. You so busy in the kitchen cooking. We all in the room. Let's say that you were appointed kitchen duty. So you never got time because you always busy and you don't know what your children are doing or what your grandchildren are doing. That is what I love, though, about the older people who already been there, done it, seen a movie. The pimp, the player, the hustler, the abuser know that they're not going to be able to take advantage of certain ones because they're formally formally, and they already know how the game is. So they're watching. Wow, they're watching. The abuser's watching everybody else. There's that older one in the room that's watching him, that's watching her. Never underestimate an older person. I might be feeble, I might be weak, but I see foolishness. Game, no game. And now he warning his grandchildren, don't go over there. But that's Uncle So. I don't give a who that is. Don't go over there. Don't sit on the lap. Don't be close. Don't be caught by yourself with. He still got a lot of demons while he over there giving people advice. Matter of fact, we gonna pray for this one. Pray that this one never show back up at the family holiday event. See, he don't know that God is using that person. All he knows is what he knows. He still got some demons. And God is even using the former as well. The old, the disabled, the feeble. And so I want some of you all, as always, to be mindful of who's in the room, who's in the atmosphere, to be more discerning, to guard your wallet, to stop putting your purse in the grocery store cart. Still doing that. Where somebody can easily snatch that out while your back is turned. To stop looking at your cell phone as you're walking across the parking lot or even in the store. Look around, or even when you're driving. You love that cell phone so much, don't you? And this is why players, pimps, hustlers go, she all up in her phone. Yeah, she in the room too. And to be so involved with so many different things in your mind, whether it's gaming and shopping or, making up a list of things to do, but never paying attention to your surroundings, never checking in with people, never asking questions. And then you wonder why we got people in the family who have suicidal ideations. So busy worrying about the job. And the abuser says, well, I see somebody's troubled in the room, but they make for good lovers. But I don't want you to doing that. What? You heard what I said. You don't need to be doing nothing with nobody. Well, at some point, I'm going to want to do something. Doesn't matter. And then if you do, you better cover up. You better protect yourself. You ain't ready for no babies. Or if you way past that age, you telling somebody that. So I thank those of you all who listen in. Be mindful of the abuser in the room. If he or she's speaking truth, somebody's already in trouble. Blessings to you. Please do check the description box for anything that is of interest. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share.